Sangsara Dhavananda Niraloka Pranayaka.
Srimad Bhagavatam is the Mahapuran, the great Puran. And as we discussed this morning, Mahapuran deals with 10 subject matters. Those 10 subject matters are beginning with creation, then sub-creation, the planetary system, maintenance and protection by the Lord, and then propensity for creative impetus or propensity to become karma vasana, to become active. Then Manvantar, the change of Manus, then Nirodha, cessation of material bondage, freedom from, and then liberation from material bondage, and finally Samam Bonam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, recognizing Him as Sarva Karana Karanam, Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. So that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He is not an incarnation. That Krishna is not an incarnation but source of all incarnations. Ete changsha kalapungsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Sayam. These incarnations are His expansions or amsa and expansion of His expansions and so forth. There are various expansions. From one, another comes, then another comes. And so that Supreme Personality of Godhead is the source of everything and the cause of all causes. So He gets involved when He gets involved in creation of the material nature, like material nature is created at some point and then it is withdrawn or annihilated at some point. That is the material nature, and that is the characteristics of all material things. Has a beginning, has an end. On the other hand, the spiritual nature, there is no beginning, no end. Therefore, it is called Sanatan, eternal. The word eternal is no beginning, no end. Whereas this material nature has two phases, Bhakta and Abhakta, manifest and unmanifest. Abhakta dini bhutani, Bhakta madhani bharata. The material creation, this jagat, this material nature, was in an unmanifest stage, and then it becomes manifest, and then again it becomes unmanifest. So this is how it is cycling, it is rotating, manifest, unmanifest, again manifestation. So manifestation takes place actually by the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead glances towards the material nature which was otherwise in an unmanifest or inactive stage became agitated. And as a result of that, the creation begins. And it has been further described that when the living entities are projected into the material nature through the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it's happening just by his glance. Sa oikshata, he glanced. And as a result of that, the creation became manifest. What happens when he glances? Due to his glance, the living entities are projected into the material nature. Which living entities? The outgoing living entities. The living entities, those who didn't want to stay with Krishna. To stay with Krishna in the spiritual sky has to fulfill one condition. And that condition is one has to be surrendered to Krishna. When one is not surrendered to Krishna, then he loses the right to remain in the material nature. It is not that he loses the right or Krishna throws him out. He decides to go on his own. He decides. Krishna tells him, don't go. Why are you going? Stay with me. But the living entity says, no. I want to be you. So this is the envy. Why should you be the greatest? Why can't I be the greatest? Krishna says, okay, if that is what you want, fine. But you can't become the greatest here. Because this spiritual nature is the nature of absolute truth. No, there is no room for any falsity. Thing that is not to be cannot be there. Therefore, Krishna actually makes arrangement. Okay, since you are so adamant to be like me, go and see how it is like. In that respect, long ago, I heard a joke. Not a joke, it is actually factual. Somebody wanted to become God. Then Krishna said, fine, if you so much want to become God, become God. So he allowed him to be God. And then immediately after that, the person said, no, I don't want to become God. I don't want to become God. Krishna asked, why? What happened? He said, ever since I became God, everybody started to ask me, give me this, give me that. So that is the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone is demanding, give me this, give me that. And he is so kind, he is so merciful that even before one wants something from him, he makes the arrangement. He knows what we actually need. And he makes the arrangement. There are so many such wonderful examples. Now, one beautiful example is a child is born and immediately its food is there as the mother's milk. Mother's milk was not there before the child's birth. As soon as the child is born, immediately milk is there. Did the child have to ask Krishna, oh Lord, give me my daily bread or daily milk? Krishna is providing. So Krishna is maintaining everyone. And that we'll discuss also. One aspect is Poshanam. How Krishna is maintaining everybody. So to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have to we become aware of all these wonderful aspects of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He creates just by his glance. He is lying down another aspect of the creation is he lies down, and as he is breathing in the causal ocean, he is lying in the causal ocean. As he is breathing, and due to his breathing, the bubbles that are generated. Did you ever notice that? Underwater, when you breathe, when you exhale, what happens? The bubbles come out. So each bubble is actually an universe. And Krishna is breathing as Mahavishnu. He is not breathing only through his nose and mouth. He is breathing from every single pore of his body. And the bubbles that are generated, maybe the bubbles generated from the pores of his body are not that big, but still it's an universe. Therefore, there are different types of universes. And the measurement of the universe is counted by the heads of Brahma. The smallest universe is the one where Brahma has 4 heads. We are actually in the smallest universe. And this way it goes on. 8 heads, 16 heads, and 100 heads, 1,000 heads. So we can see how large different universes can be. According to our calculation, they are so large, but from Krishna's point of view, the duration of each universe is Jashaika Nishashita Kalam Athavalamba Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanatha. The duration of each universe is the lifespan of Brahma. And what is the lifespan of Brahma? Which is actually the duration of one universe, one breath of Krishna. So that is how inconceivably powerful the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. And that is what we understand from Srimad Bhagavatam. Other Purans are there, but not in such details. Most of the Purans, none of those Purans have covered all these 10 aspects. Most of them are covering mostly 5 of them. 5 aspects, like Sarga, Visharga, Sthanam, Poshanam, Utaya. But Mahapuran, Srimad Bhagavatam has Manvantara, Ishanukatha, Nirodha, Mukti, Ashraya, 5 more. So this morning we quite extensively discussed about, I don't know whether I can call it extensively, because it's just how much can we discuss about just in a couple of hours. But the point is that, and especially that particular purport by Srila Prabhupada was so informative. Prabhupada gave such a beautiful understanding through just one purport. How Mahavishnu lies in the causal ocean, then the universes are generated, then Garbhodakshay Vishnu enters, and creation begins, Brahma's involvement, and how the Lord is actually maintaining everything. And through his pastimes, the Lord is actually teaching us a very wonderful lesson. Surrender unto me. So the purpose of human form of life, again, Bhagavatam is making it very clear that when one gets the human form of life, that is the greatest benediction that one living entity can have in this material nature. Because when one gets the human form of life, he gets the ability to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible. The human beings have this special prerogative. And that's why the scriptures are reminding us, especially Srimad Bhagavatam is reminding us. Labdha sudurlabhamidam bahu sambhavante. Now that you have received this human form of life, which is very, very rare, sudurlabham, idam, this, after many, many possibilities, many, many possibilities. This point came up this morning, actually, that, he actually suggested that the living entities, like some living entities, due to their pious activities, they go up to the heavenly planets. Heavenly planets is a place for enjoyment, all kinds of inconceivable enjoyments, material enjoyment actually goes there. But then he falls down. When his piety is finished, he falls down. He enjoys, but he'll have to pay for his enjoyment. It's like you go to a 5-star hotel to stay there, and to take all the facilities you have to keep paying. And when you are in a hotel, you can't earn money. So you just keep on spending. Then, sometimes when your pocket is empty, then the management tells, "Sir, now you have to go." And if you don't want to go, then they'll push you out of it. So that's what happens. One loses his right to stay in the heavenly planet, and he falls from heavenly planet. Kshine punne martalokam bishanti. Bishanti, he falls down, he enters into the earth planet again. Martalokam. Martalokam means mrittuloka. In heavenly planet there is no mrittu, there is no death. So he falls, and then Rakshasas eat his body when he is falling. Can you imagine how painful it is? Somebody is just eating your body. And due to the pain, his soul comes out through his tears. As he cries out of pain, his soul leaves the body through the tears. And that this teardrops actually mingles with the raindrops and falls on the earth. And then they enter into the vegetations in some form of food, grains, or mainly grains actually. They enter into food grains. Then somebody eats it. Not only the human beings are eating grains, and animals also are eating grains, and then the soul then enters into that entity's semen. And then so some fortunate soul impregnates the ovum of the mother, and that develops into your body. This is how one gets a body. That is how rare it is to even get a body in this material nature. What to speak of a human body. So when one gets the human form of life, again, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing Sanatana Goswami, he is making that point. There are various types of human beings. There are 8,400,000 species of life, but out of that only 400 are human beings. Oh, I see. Is it all right now? Is it? Hare Krishna. It's better now. Yeah, maybe I should have asked. Hare Krishna. Yeah, I'll make it a point to ask from tomorrow. So Out of 8,400,000 species, only 400,000 are human forms. And out of that 400,000, some are, or most of them are uncivilized. Uncivilized. And some are half civilized. What is the consideration of civilization here? The consideration of civilization actually is the ability to understand the spiritual topic or scriptures that deals with spiritual subject matter. The word, Sanskrit word for sabhya, civilized is sabhya. Sabhya, the word sabhya is coming from the root word sabha. Sabha means an assembly. And the assembly where the spiritual topics are discussed, when one has the ability to sit in an assembly where spiritual topic is discussed, he is considered to be civilized. So, out of those who are able to understand the spiritual topic, some are not fully conversant with the spiritual topic. They use that knowledge, the spiritual knowledge, for sense gratification. Like the scriptures, you remember, dealing with dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And the thing is that up to moksha point, actually it is half civilized. Those who are using this informations from the scripture for sense gratification, they're half civilized. Now, who is really civilized? One who recognizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders unto Him. So you can see how rare it is to come to the platform of Krishna consciousness. In simple words, those who are Krishna conscious, they are really civilized. Those who are following the Vedic instructions for sense gratification, like karmis, even jnanis, karmis are half civilized. Jnanis are 3/4 civilized. And devotees are fully civilized. So, this is how rare this opportunity is. And the informations are there, but then again, just having the informations is not enough. For example, books are there. Say there are books on medicine, are there available in the market. You can buy them, you can read them. But can you become a qualified doctor? In order to become a what is the criteria for becoming a qualified doctor? Just not the books, but the teacher. Both are actually necessary. The books on medicine are there, and the qualified teachers are there. When we study, then we can see what the actual informations are, what the actual knowledge is. Like, how many of you read Bhagavad Gita before coming in contact with ISKCON? Okay, did you understand anything? That reminds me, once Brahmananda Maharaj told us, one of our very senior god brothers, for his first encounter with Srila Prabhupada, he saw in 26 Second Avenue, he saw the sign, discourses or lecture on Bhagavad Gita by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So he became interested and he wanted to see the Swami from India. So those days, early days, it was quite easy to meet Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was happy to meet if somebody came to see him. So he went to see him, see Srila Prabhupada, and then he quite boastfully said, Swamiji, I also read Bhagavad Gita. And he pulled out a Bhagavad Gita from his bag and showed Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, okay, very good. Open it. Open any page. Open the page. Prabhupada said, read it. He started to read it aloud. Prabhupada said, now close the book. Tell me what you understood. And he realized he didn't understand anything. So, although we read Bhagavad Gita before coming in contact with Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, and even though we may have thought that we understood so much, but actually we didn't understand anything until we came across Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. And what is the beauty of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita? The beauty of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is that the ultimate instruction of Bhagavad Gita Prabhupada brought at the very beginning. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender unto Him. And when you read Bhagavad Gita with that understanding, then everything becomes crystal clear. So that way we are so fortunate. The book was there, book Bhagavad Gita was there, but teacher was not there. We are so fortunate that we found a qualified, most bona fide, most qualified teacher who took the trouble to leave India at the age of 70 and come to the West, come to America in such a difficult condition, no money, nothing. What a risk Prabhupada Srila took. What a risk Srila Prabhupada took. Will anybody ever dare to go to some place without any money in his pocket? What to speak of, coming from all the way from America, all the way from India to America? Will anybody would like to go to New York without any money from wherever you are? No. But Prabhupada did that. I mean, what an adventure. At the age of 70, Prabhupada had the spirit of a young man. And why did Prabhupada do that? Why did Prabhupada take that risk? Why did Prabhupada underwent so much difficulties? That journey from India to America was not an easy one. We take a flight from India to America and we complain, oh, I got jet lag, I got this. But Prabhupada had to take the trip through the ocean. And that also in a cargo ship. And you know how difficult it had been for Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada wrote that he would have died. He was already feeling so sick, and actually what the sickness was, Prabhupada had 2 heart attacks. And it is because of Srila Prabhupada's coming here that today we all are sitting here discussing about this very, very exalted topic. How many people in this world can even delve into these topics? This morning we are discussing about so much speculation is going on in the name of about creation. Creation came this way or that way. But today we know that they are all just nonsense speculations. Whereas Bhagavatam is giving us such clear understanding. Supreme Personality of Godhead laid down in causal ocean. They can't even imagine what is causal ocean is. Their intelligence doesn't even go to that extent that behind every action there is a cause. Behind every single action there is a cause. Cause is a substance. Cause is substance, and there is an ocean of cause. And the personality who is the cause of all, to figure that out. So this is how scientifically we can consider or we can understand the existence of the soul. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the first living entity in the material nature came from his navel, Lord Brahma. Then Brahma was assigned with the responsibility to create further. Krishna gave the structure of the universe. Then he said, okay, fine. Now Brahma, you take care, you take over. And Brahma was ultimately became aware that yes, now he'll have to take over. And that is how the second creation started. That is secondary creation or Visharga. Visharga started. Just to read some from Srimad Bhagavatam. We go into that Visharga aspect. We just remember that I'm just touching these points. Like it's not that we cannot really go into the depth of it in completeness, but it gives us an idea. It gives us an understanding. Brahma first created the nascent engagements like self-deception, the sense of death, anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and the illusory bodily conceptions or forgetfulness of one's real identity. And that is, forgetfulness of real identity is called ahankar, false ego. Seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in his activity, and therefore he purified himself by meditation on the personality of Godhead. Then he began another term of creation. Remember we discussed this morning that first when Brahma started to create on his own, he messed up everything. He created all the wrong things, leading all the way up to the false ego. But he realized that, oh my God, what did I do? And then he started to meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Don't you learn a wonderful lesson from that? You try to do something on your own, you'll simply end up, you'll simply mess it up. Isn't it happening? All these big leaders, they're coming into their political power, and what are they doing? Each successive leader is making the situation even worse. And you think the previous one was bad. You wait till the next one comes. And don't we say that? Oh, he was much better. The previous one was much better. We hope that the new one will do something good, but anyway, this is the material nature. Then what is the solution? Here is the solution. Meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Try to receive His mercy. And when you act as His agent, when you become a puppet in His hand and allow Him to do things through you, then only the right things begin to happen. Seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in his activity, and therefore he purified himself by meditation on the personality of Godhead. Then he began another term of creation. In the beginning, Brahma created 4 great sages named Sanaka, Sanandan, Sanatan and Sanat Kumar. All of them were unwilling to adapt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their semens flowing upwards. Very important point actually to consider, that the real spiritual enlightenment comes when the semen rises upwards. Normal condition, what happens? Living entities, they let the semen go out of the body. Therefore, brahmachari life is so important for spiritual advancement. So these 4 Kumaras, they were, that expression is called Urdha Reta. Urdha Reta. Urdha means upwards and Reta means semen. Their semen was not wasted out of the body, but it was rising upwards. And Brahma spoke to his sons after generating them. My dear sons, he said, now generate progeny. But due to their being attached to Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they aimed at liberation, and therefore they expressed their unwillingness. They expressed their unwillingness. So, Brahma's condition at that time was like, they are my children and they are not listening to me. So Brahma got angry. There was anger in his heart. But Brahma also realized, you see, personality, like who can create from his mind, like this, all these 4 children came from Brahma's mind. That means Brahma gave them the body through his mind. Such a powerful personality. So when such a powerful personality becomes angry, what could happen? Therefore, if you are very powerful, don't get angry. So Brahma realized that, that would mean that they would destroy his children. His children will be destroyed if he expressed his anger. So he curbed his anger. But although he prevented his anger from coming out, but although it was controlled, but it came out in the form from between his eyebrows. And that anger again took the shape of Rudra. Rudra. The personality who is the controller of destruction, or assigned with the power of destruction, Lord Shiva. And then there is a description like how that form actually multiplied, and they started to destroy everything. They're like a bunch of uncontrolled ruffians. And so Brahma told them, you just meditate. Control don't allow your senses to go out. Control yourself. Control your consciousness and project it internally. Because if it was allowed to go out, then it would be destructive. But it was necessary at some point. Destruction was necessary, so it was preserved for that time. Therefore we find Lord Shiva is always meditating. But when he becomes active, then better you watch out. You saw what happened when Sati left her body. Like Lord Shiva doesn't destroy in that way directly. Lord Shiva actually dances. That dance is called Tandava Nritya. Tandava Nritya. And through that dance, what actually happens is the whole creation falls apart. He dances and the creation falls apart. Again, another such display of power. So then Brahma, who was empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of generating living entities and begot 10 sons for the extension of the generations. So, now mind you, how Brahma was creating? Did Brahma have a wife? Did Brahma have a wife? No, he was just himself. Manasa Putras, from his mind there he was creating the offsprings. Manasa. And those 10 sons are Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulasta, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vasishtha, Daksha, and the 10th son, Narad, were thus born. So all these personalities are extremely powerful personalities. And they had been assigned with the responsibility to procreate, to progeny. Therefore they are called Prajapatis. Prajapatis. I was just thinking, don't you see the similarity? Progeny and Praja. Progeny and Praja. So Prajapatis, progenitors, Prajapatis. They are actually extremely powerful personalities. They were the sages, nine of them, and the 10th one is Narad Muni. So these 9 sons were obedient. So Brahma wanted them, told them, my sons, help me in the procreation aspect. And they said, yes, Father, we'll do that. But the 9th one was, the 10th one was a spoilt one. But Brahma didn't mind. The 10th one was like his elder brothers, the 4 Kumars. He also felt, I don't want to get involved in all that stuff. So because he was the youngest and all the other boys are engaged obediently. So Brahma didn't mind that this one, let him be. Let him be the way he wants to be. Didn't it happen with many of you? Huh? Your family thought that you are a lost cause. You became a Hare Krishna. So one day Narada saw that Brahma was in meditation and tears were flowing from his eyes, the hairs on his body were standing on end, and his body was trembling. So Narada was surprised. He could see that these are the signs of ecstasy And when in extreme jubilation one actually experiences these symptoms. So when Brahma came back to his senses, external senses, Narada asked him, Father, I thought you were the greatest. Like, who is that meditating upon whom you are experiencing such inner joy? Who is that? And then Brahma told him about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is how this other parampara began, which is called Bhagavat Parampara. Bhagavat Parampara. The others are actually giving the Karmakanda section of the Vedas and Jnanakanda section of the Vedas were given through the other sons. But Narada actually started the Bhagavat Parampara. The meaning, the knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That other sages, although they were extremely exalted Brahmanas, or they were situated in Brahman realization, but they were not aware of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as such. They were to them, Brahma was the greatest. Do you remember Hiranyakashipu meditating, and he thought that Brahma is the greatest, and by pleasing Brahma he will be able to get the benediction of immortality. But although Brahma told him that he was not immortal, and he indirectly indicated that he is submissive to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he didn't register that. So this is how we can see that being materially exalted doesn't necessarily mean, even one is Vedic, according to the Vedic standard, is very exalted personality, doesn't mean that he is aware of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's a special mercy that actually enables one to receive the informations about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Example, do you remember Narada, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived in Jagannath Puri, he fainted. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took him to his house, carried him to his house. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's brother-in-law, Gopinath Acharya, knew about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So although Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was also from Navadvip, but he left Navadvip before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. But Gopinath Acharya knew Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya started to express certain concern for him. Oh, he has taken sannyas from a lower order. Oh, he took sannyas from Bharati. Bharati is out of the 10 Nami sannyasis, the 10 categories of sannyas titles. And Bharati is one of the lowest. So he said he took sannyas from Bharati order. Anyway, doesn't matter. I will uplift him. He also expressed his desire, expressed his concern that this young man is so handsome and he is so young and he is so sentimental. He made a mistake taking sannyas. Anyway, doesn't matter. I will give him the real knowledge and make him elevated, make him fixed up. Gopinath Acharya said, what are you talking about? You know, this personality is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya debated with him, how is it possible? No, I can't accept it. Because Supreme Personality of Godhead doesn't come in the age of Kali. And I have it. Now I have some water. Thank you. The Supreme Personality of Godhead doesn't come in the age of Kali. And this way they were having arguments. Then Gopinath Acharya told him that, look, one can recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by His mercy. So because you haven't received His mercy, you are not able to recognize Him. So to recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we need the Lord's mercy. And that mercy becomes manifest through Lord's agent. Like we see that because Srila Prabhupada came and because we became favorably disposed to Srila Prabhupada, today we can recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who do not want to take Srila Prabhupada's mercy will not be able to recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that one can actually recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narada Muni, we see that he received the mercy of Brahma. But then also another consideration here is there has to be eagerness. There has to be greed. Laulam matram mullam ekalam. In order to recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or in order to receive the Lord's mercy, one has to have that greed. Like here we are seeing that Narada had that greed. He was not interested in anything else. So that means he was waiting. I'm sure many of you have gone through that same phase also, in a way. You didn't feel interested in anything else. Although you didn't know what you wanted, but you are not interested in anything. When you got it, you said, no, I don't want this. Right? Until you came to Krishna consciousness. But when you came to Krishna consciousness, people get surprised. This guy was not steady in anything, but in this one, in this path, he is steady as a rock. That's because he is just cut out for that. Because he doesn't have any interest for anything else. So, that is what actually Narada Muni displayed. He was not interested in anything else. But as soon as he got Krishna consciousness, that's what he needed. And this also reveals another fact. You remember Narada Muni's previous life? He was self-realized. He had the darshan of the Lord through his meditation. He wanted to see Him again and again. The Lord appeared to him and then disappeared. And the joy that Narada Muni in that life experienced, he wanted to experience the joy again and again, so he wanted to see the Lord again, and he performed more severe austerities. But finally the Lord told him that, Narada, in this life you won't be able to see me again. But in your next life you'll become my associate. But then we see that when he is born, even as Brahma's son, he didn't actually have the awareness of the Lord. What does it mean? It means that when one is born, he is born in ignorance. Therefore, he has to begin the spiritual life in this life again, no matter how exalted he may have been in his previous life. So, Janmana Jayate Sudra. Everyone in this material nature is born in ignorance. Especially ignorance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But then he comes across a devotee of the Lord, and he becomes aware of Him again. Narada was born from the deliberation of Brahma, which is the best part of the body. Vashishta was born from his breathing. So these are the different sons of Brahma. Vashishta was born from his breathing. Daksha from a thumb. Bhrigu from his touch. And Kratu from his hand. Pulasta was generated from the ears. Angira from the mouth. Atri from the eyes. Marichi from the mind. And Pulaha from the navel of Brahma. See, from different parts of Brahma, Brahma's entity, different sons were born. Different. And really, then further it goes. Religion was manifested from the breast of Brahma, wherein is seated the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, and irreligion appeared from his back, where horrible death takes place for the living entity. Irreligion is from Brahma's back. Or when we see Brahma's back, or when Brahma turns his face away from us, that is, then it becomes irreligion. And that shows what? That we should be looking towards Brahma for the actual knowledge, which means the Vedas. Because Brahma gave the Vedas. Lust and desire became manifested from the heart of Brahma. Anger from between his eyebrows. Greed from between his lips. The power of speaking from his mouth. The ocean from his penis. And low and abominable activities from his anus. The source of all sins. Sage Kardama, husband of the great Devahuti, was manifested from the shadow of Brahma. Thus all became manifested from either the body or the mind of Brahma. So you see how the sub-creation started. The secondary creation started in this way. Okay. Okay, I will stop now. I'll leave enough room for question answers because I noticed that, yes.
Maharaj, you said that the child, after it's born, doesn't have to pray to God for milk. It just is automatically provided. So the scientists would say that everything comes from a random combination of chemicals, and this chemicals produced a one-cell organism, and through mutations they produced other organisms. And so through natural selection, perhaps the way they would explain the mother's milk is that some mothers, through the mutation, they produced milk and the other ones didn't, and so they died off. So how do we know that is not true?
Well, in Bengali there is a saying, what a madman will not say and what a goat will not eat. Let them blabber away, who gives a damn about that?
Jai.
Their statements don't even make sense to themselves. Why waste your time on what they wanted to mean? Yes, Chandrasekhar Maharaj.
We hear that there are born sons of Brahma, as we see here, and some are born from his body. Which ones are the mind-born sons?
Which one?
Yeah.
Like 4 Kumaras.
4 Kumaras.
Kumaras.
Shiva.
They were coming from the... No, Shiva came from his anger.
Okay, so that's not a mind-born son.
Not mind-born.
That's what I'm trying to distinguish.
Yeah, came from his anger. And here we are seeing that they actually, although from kind of coming from his mind, but the predominating aspect was different aspect of it came Angira.
These are all mind-born sons, these 10 sons.
These are all,
They're called mind-born sons. Okay, that's what I was trying to get at. They appear to be coming from his body, but we still call them mind-born sons.
Mind-born, yeah, Manasuputra, yeah. Yes? He was, okay. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Hare Krishna. So I have one question. You were speaking about Narada, and then you said how he had joy from seeing the Lord. He wanted to see him again and again, but then he had to take birth again. Then you said that everyone is born in ignorance. So my question is, but from our previous life, if we've engaged in devotional service, isn't that always with us? Doesn't that?
Very good point. Yes, there is no loss or diminution in this process of Krishna consciousness. It remains. And Prabhupada actually pointed that out, that when we start, like we are born in ignorance, we are not aware of it. But when we begin, then we begin from the point where we ended. And we continue to go further. And that's why sometimes we find that some individuals are very advanced. They join and it looks like they're so advanced from the beginning. So that is how, like there is no loss or diminution. We'll begin from from the point where we left. Hare Krishna. Yes?
Maharaj, my question is, you've explained so nicely how rare human life is and gone through the process, the very specific process as to how the human form is attained. What about offering prasadam to forms of life that are not in human form? Does that assure them or help them in human birth?
Yes. This is how we create good fortune for other living entities. And chanting of the holy name is the most effective way of doing that. Like Haridas Thakur and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were having a discussion. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asking how the holy name is going to benefit others. And Haridas Thakur was explaining that those who chant, they derive the benefit. Those who don't chant, you want to say something? Go ahead. Okay. Huh?
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just wondering if chanting is equally effective for life forms that are not so conscious.
Yeah, right. No, I was just giving an example, elaborating that question. Elaborating that answer. Like, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, then what about the trees and plants that cannot speak? Those or hear. Then Haridas Thakur's response was, when one chants and it reverberates, it resounds, that is actually trees and plants are chanting. So this is how the holy name is creating the benefit. As you asked, like, yes, we can create benefit for other living entities in this way by giving them prasad. Or that's why chanting loudly is so important.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. From Bhagavad Gita we learn that lust is originating from the Supreme Lord Himself, and it's a perverted love that we are feeling. But here in Srimad Bhagavatam we just learned that lust is coming from the heart of Brahma, so I'm a little confused about that.
The lust is not coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The lust is the perverted reflection of the love in the spiritual world. It's not coming from the Lord as such. Like with Him there is no lust as such, the way we know it. right? Sanskrit word, there are two expressions. Love is prem and lust is kam. Prem is spiritual, but kam is mundane. The desire to serve Krishna, desire to give pleasure to Krishna is love. But try to gratify our own senses is lust. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the lovely exposition. I enjoyed it very much. I was wondering how we are to understand the gender of Brahma. In this last or penultimate maybe verse you cited, we saw the penis of Brahma created in the ocean. But I'm thinking in particular in Bhagavad Gita, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, chapter 14, I believe, Mama Yoni Mahabrahma Tasmin Garbha Dadamyaham, where we see Brahma with Yoni and Garbha. So
No, that is not Brahma. Here the Brahma means vast. In the vast womb of this material nature, I am the seed-giving father. It is not that he is telling that in the Joni of Brahma I am giving it. No. That's a different concept. One is Brahma and the other is Brahma. One is ending with a short A, the other is ending with a long A.
like the Upanishadic Brahman.
Yeah, right. Like that is, and Brahma actually means vast or great. Tashang Brahma Mahad Joni. The vast and extensive I am the seed giving. Ahang Bija Pradapita. I am the seed giving father. Okay?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. You mentioned that there's 400,000 different species of human form, and then you mentioned a portion of them are uncivilized. So if someone has an uncivilized species of human body, if he takes up transcendental knowledge, can he cancel out the uncivilized nature of his human body?
It is not actually this consideration of civilized or half civilized as civilized is not a consideration of body. It's a consideration of consciousness.
So
like somebody who may be uncivilized today can become civilized.
So it's not a question of physical body but subtle bodies?
Well, no, not even that. It's a matter of consciousness. Say, for example, were we Krishna conscious before? Most of us were not. So most of us are uncivilized. And by Prabhupada's mercy, we became civilized. Right? So that's the thing. Our consciousness changed.
So in terms of
And along with that, yes, our subtle body changed. Even our gross body changed.
Right.
Like we shaved up.
Right.
When are you going to do that?
Soon. So upon changing the consciousness and acting according to Vedic principles, then our species changes?
Not the species. The species remains human being. The species is human, but their consciousness or their status is changing.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for your lecture. I wanted to know a little more about how from the back of Brahma comes a religion and the horrific death. I wanted to know more about it.
That may, like we have to see that back means where his consciousness is not projected. You see, Brahma's consciousness is generating dharma. So back means absence of that consciousness, and that is adharma. Death is a personality. Death is Jat Bibheti Swayam Bhayam. The fear personified is death. You don't know about death for the person? Do you want to hear one story? Okay, let's frame it in this context. Say, in Pittsburgh, one very rich man arranged a feast for his friends. So he sent his servant to the market to buy different things. And after a little while, the servant came running back to him. His hair was standing. He was in acute anxiety and fear. So the master asked him, "What happened? Why did you come back like that without buying the things and you looking so afraid? What happened?" He said, "I went to the market and there I saw death personified standing there. And it looked like he was just about to get me. So I just came running back to you." So then he said, "Okay, then the servant asked, 'Please tell me, Master, what should I do?' So he said, 'Take the fastest car from my garage and go to Chicago.'" And he thought that let me go and see where death was and how he was. So the master went to the market and he saw death. So he asked death, "Now why did you scare my servant like that?" Death said, "I was actually surprised to see him here because I had an appointment with him in Chicago." The point is, yes, death is a person who is controlling, and that death personified came from Brahma's body. Yeah, yes, like, those who do not, here Krishna actually means that those who do not surrender unto me, I come to them in the form of death. They don't surrender unto me this way, but then finally they surrender in this way. Yes, Ladini Prabhu.
This is just a comment on what you're saying. I worked for some years as a hospice chaplain with the actively dying. And I remember one time I went into a room, I was surprised because I had read the man's chart and I knew that he was very close to death because social workers, nurses, they make comments and I would read them before I visit. So I was surprised to see him fully dressed, even with shoes on, and sitting on the edge of his bed. And although I tried to engage him in some kind of spiritual talk, I would ask questions like, "Well, so what is your spirituality?" To be neutral and not frightening. He wouldn't go for it at all. I don't even remember what he was talking about, but at some moment he said, "Well, I have to be going now." And he got up and he went walking straight for the door like he was fleeing. But he got only a few steps and he began to fall. So I grabbed him and I prevented him from falling on the floor. And I managed to get him onto his bed, and he just lay there like still. So I summoned the nurse by ringing the buzzer. And she came and checked the life symptoms, and he had died. So I think death is not just figurative. The personality of death appeared to this man, and he said, "Oh, I've got to go now." and he tried to run away. and I spoke to the medical director, later, and he confirmed that he had seen things like this too. So the atheistic people that refuse to surrender to God or even talk to a chaplain, they don't want to hear about it, they don't want to believe it, but they see it. I think we can understand it's not just figurative. It's just a comment from my personal experience. It was unforgettable.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for the class. I have 3 questions, if I may, or you can stop me whenever. The first question is, you mentioned just to get a body, let alone human body, is very rare because once it gets transformed to semen, only one impregnates the ovum. What happens to the other sperm cells or semen from a Vedic perspective? Do they somehow become rain again, or?
I don't know.
Okay, my second question was, the first Brahma created, I'm going to use the word so-called negative things, ahankara and other things, without having meditated on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why couldn't it be undone? Because I'm not trying to blame Brahma, but had he not done that, maybe there would have been less ahankar, because he is the creator of all those so-called evil. Why couldn't, just for the benefit of humankind, why couldn't that be undone either by Rudra?
Well, when something happens, like it just stays in that level. When ultimately these are all, things that are meant to be there. But they're manifesting at certain stage when Brahma is not God conscious. Right? Their manifestation, all these aspects, the manifestation took place when he was not Krishna conscious. And the positive things came after he becomes Krishna conscious.
And I forgot my last question. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kupasam pratanam pavanam vaishnava namo namah. I'm a physician. I've seen birth and death from close, especially I've seen when people die, especially when my father passed away 25 years ago, I saw in close, I was associated with his care also at that time. After he passed, and as he was being resuscitated, I was praying the Lord. Then of course he passed away. Then, after 20 minutes or so, they were trying to dress his body. I saw a smile on his face and a tremendous effulgence on his face. From then on, I've been watching very closely after anybody passing away. Whether I know this patient, I don't know the patient. Whenever I see a dead body, especially after 20 minutes to about, I would say, 1.5 to 2 hours, there is tremendous effulgence on their faces. And also, of course, various expressions on the face, some of them smiling, some of them peaceful, some of them with a frown, with so many expressions. And especially the one thing is constantly I have noticed is effulgence on their faces.
Well,
is that signify the...
Well, I can appreciate that you are speaking from your personal experience, but there are also times when that effulgence may not be there. Have you seen sometimes people die while passing stool? Did you see that?
Yes.
I'm sure as a doctor you have seen that.
Yes.
You know what happens? They're so sinful that, their soul leaves the body from the lower part of the body. The higher, more exalted one is, he leaves his body, from the upper part of the body, especially from his mouth, chanting the holy name.
My question was whether, so many atheists don't believe the presence of the soul. That is the real bottom line is the soul.
I get your point. Yeah.
So my thing is that one may do some kind of study to prove them that the soul is present in the living body, and
so you are in a perfect situation to do that.
No, but I'm not a physicist. This is the question is that a physicist should be able to assess the amount of illumination that is present and that is emanating from the person. I do not know how to do research on that kind of stuff.
Anyways, I think some physicists will take it up. Good advice, good suggestion. Thank you. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada. Lord Brahma is the founder of our sampradaya, so he is obviously a pure devotee of Krishna, as per our understanding. But sometimes we see that we also say that a person who falls down from the spiritual world becomes Brahma first, or so it's basically kind of a material situation that he came out of the spiritual world and became Brahma. So is Brahma basically as good as, because he's also our prime acharya for the sampradaya, so how do we understand?
Well, at least we know that this Brahma is our sampradaya acharya. He is, sampradaya acharya means he is a pure devotee of Krishna. Swayambhur Narada Sambhu. That is the Mahajans. That are the Mahajans. And this domain is so vast that it's it's practically impossible to kind of pin down that this must have happened. Right? There's so many possibilities. So better to just keep it simple. Let's just, Brahma is our sampradaya acharya. And we got Krishna consciousness from him. Right? So we are just remaining grateful to him because all that he has given us. He has given us the Vedas, he has given us all these informations.
Maharaj, you mentioned about projecting our consciousness within, and I was just trying to think that normally we project our consciousness through our senses to either material sense objects, or if for devotional service we are still projecting our consciousness through our senses to Krishna. So when does the state come when we are projecting our consciousness within, and what does that mean?
Yeah, the process of projecting our consciousness internally within is through the process of yoga and meditation. And there is another way of properly apply your consciousness. That is, your consciousness is projecting externally to the objects of the senses. General tendency is to consider these objects of the senses are meant for our sense gratification. But instead of that, when one considers that these objects are actually meant for Krishna's pleasure, then that is, that is Sankirtan. And that is why Sankirtan is so powerful, so effective. Meditation is very, very difficult process. Success may come or may not come. After millions of lifetimes also, success may not come. But in this process, success is guaranteed. We don't have to do anything. You see, there is no arduous attempt. The senses are naturally running towards the objects of the senses. The consciousness is automatically running towards the object because we are surrounded by this world. Can you imagine how difficult it will be to restrain the senses, consciousness to not to run towards the objects of the senses? So the process that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave is that let your consciousness go towards our external direction, but use it for Krishna's service. Idam Krishnaya na mama. This is for Krishna's pleasure, not for mine. No hard job, no difficult task, just for Krishna. And then when you offer it to Krishna, then Krishna doesn't just take it away. Krishna is okay. Take it as my mercy, my prasad. So we're not losing anything by doing that, but we're gaining everything. We are not saying that, I'm not going to speak. But we are saying, I will speak, and to magnify my speech, I'll use a microphone. Right? But I'll speak about Krishna. So I'm not restraining my speech, but I'm simply I'm simply applying it for Krishna's pleasure or benefit of spreading Krishna consciousness. Yeah, sure.
So during japa, is there a question of projecting a consciousness within, or?
Within in the sense, meditate on or project your consciousness onto the sound vibration. When you're doing something, do it well. When you're doing something, do it properly. Right? You are chanting, so it's a sound vibration. So how are you going to receive the sound vibration? Through hearing. So that's about all that is needed. We don't have to, arduously withdraw the senses from the objects of the senses and then put it in the inner core of our heart in meditation. It is just meditate on or focus on or concentrate on how you are chanting, what you are chanting.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for a very clear and wonderful explanation. Thank you. Harish.
Guru Maharaj, I wanted to ask about Hanuman. I heard that Hanuman is blessed that he is going to be the Brahma in the next Brahma after this present one. So I wanted to hear from you about the pastime where he was blessed by Mother Sita or something. I don't remember exactly the context where he was blessed. If there's a pastime or something which,
I have to ask you, where did you get that?
I actually I heard in some.
I don't remember reading anywhere. Maybe, but I don't remember. That's why I can't say where it was. That's why I'm asking, where did you find it from?
Okay. I just heard it.
I see. Yes.
Maharaj, you mentioned several times that when one becomes envious of Krishna, then falls down from the spiritual world to the material world. But isn't that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that one, if he goes back to his abode, then it doesn't return back to the material world. So why does one get envious in the spiritual world? Because, could you please explain that a little bit?
Jad gatvana nivartante. That is, once one goes back there, one doesn't come back. Once bitten, twice shy. Because when you have seen what it is like here, and then you go there, would you like to come back? That's the point. The point is, we agree, yeah, sure. Because once we have seen what it is like.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. You had mentioned two different incarnation of Narad Muni. One along with the 9 other sages, and also the maid servant's son becoming...
That was his previous life.
So that was previous life.
Previous life. Okay. And prior to that also he was a Gandharva named Upavardhan. Okay. So, last question from Mataji here.
For the word lolium, the word lolium was mentioned earlier, and for that we translated as greed in English. I'm just wondering if the greed in English, greed has such a bad connotation. It means you're selfish, self-centered.
Yes.
Does lolium in Sanskrit have good connotation?
Oh, okay, right. The greed, greed to get devotion is not a negative thing. Greed, the word greed actually means is the intense desire to get something, isn't it? Intense desire to get something that is desirable, and so when one intensely wants to have Krishna, then, or Krishna's association, devotion to Krishna, that is all right. That is very good. But also, in that respect, I can also say, you see, English is a very limited language. For example, in English there is only one expression, God. But in Sanskrit there are so many different expressions meaning different things, like completely different things have been identified as God in English, like Devta and Bhagavan. Right? Devtas are the controllers of different affairs of the universe, and Devas and Devis. But Krishna is Bhagavan. But they lumped, through this, because of this one expression, they all have been lumped together. Right? Say, similarly, you see, there are different other considerations in Sanskrit. Like the expression that I used was lolam. Lolam. Lolam, and also another expression is lobha. Now, lolam, as I mentioned, is an intense desire to get something. And lob is to covet for something that belongs to somebody else. You see the difference? In Sanskrit there is a very, very clear demarcation. But in English you can't really make the difference.
English is a word yearning for something, which yearning, you want something, it doesn't has quite as bad of a connotation as greed. Like it could be spiritual yearning. So sometimes I think for a new person they hear us say that you have to have spiritual greed. And
see.
There's a bad idea.
Okay, we're just simply trying to make the best out of a bad bargain. So we can end with a little kirtan today. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,